Today, the Wisconsin Elections Commission staff will be standing ready to assist clerks as they start the process of triple checking the results. The statutorily required canvass process begins today before we can certify those results. This includes the random selection of 5% of voting equipment that's used in this election, which must be audited to make sure that the paper tally is the same as the voting equipment. So all those things have to happen before we have certified results. Yesterday's voting process and election night counting went very well in Wisconsin and across the country. Despite more absentee ballots, the evening proceeded in a very normal fashion. Our election was executed with precision, and it's also, every step of the process is publicly observable, and I think that's really important. Every step of the elections process is publicly observable. You can observe Election Day and voters casting their ballot. You can observe the votes being tallied at night. The voter registration records are public information. The absentee data is public information. Each of the results are posted on the county's websites. So again, our job as election administrators is to follow the law. And what the law says that on election night, that each municipality submits their unofficial results, unofficial being the key word, to their county, and the county then posts the unofficial results by reporting unit on their website. There is no certified election night aggregate of results. That is according to state law. That is not a process that we made up or adopted. That is according to state law, and we followed state law. Part of democracy is following the laws that have been prescribed by our elected lawmakers. And the elected lawmakers have prescribed this process for canvassing in our jurisdictions. I'm incredibly proud of the work done by Wisconsin's election officials, and I feel 100% confident in the election that they conducted, and that the laws that are established by our elected lawmakers were followed in yesterday's election. So there's no calling elections at the state level, right? That's called certification. And certification is a very meticulous, careful process that commences with the certification at the state level on December 1st. Up until that point, there is no statewide aggregate. There is no calling in the election. Any of those predictions that you're hearing are predictions by the media and other groups based on unofficial results. And I just think that's so important. And I know for so many of us, we've spent the last few months talking about this on end, talking about the mechanics of how the process works. And so I think, as we head into today, it's really important to continue to convey that message that we've all been working so hard to understand exactly how the process works and bring those mechanical facts to Wisconsin voters. Unfortunately, earlier this morning, I may have misspoken about all of the unofficial results being in from our municipal clerks around the state. So again, we have 1,850 municipal clerks around the state. And it looks like, according to looking through, again, all those county websites, that every single one of those jurisdictions has submitted their unofficial results, except for one tiny township of less than 300 voters. And they're working to get their ballots finished and counted and posted as we speak. And so beyond that, we have no reason to believe that there are any other ballots that have not yet been counted and included as part of those unofficial totals. But again, the canvass process, so important, right? The canvass process is where the municipal election officials double check all of the results to make sure that they have the correct number of registrations, to make sure that everything checks out. Then the counties, they do the same. So today at 4 o'clock is actually the deadline for the municipalities to start their canvass process and to then route the materials over to the counties where they start their certification process at the county level. They, again, do those double checks. All this publicly observable. You can go watch in your local communities. If you're skeptical about the process, engage. You can go watch the process in your local community. And so then it goes to the county level. They do their double checks. From there, it comes to the state. By state law, on December 1st, at the public meeting of the Wisconsin Elections Commission is when those results are certified. And that's when we will have the official winner. We'll have the official results of the election at that December 1st meeting as prescribed by state law. And so with that, I don't know, Reed, if you had any other background you want to lend, then we can open it up for some questions.
Sure. Just the only other thing to let people know is that the results that you're seeing reported on websites and newspapers, on cable TV, whatever, those are numbers that are based on news gathering. The Associated Press, other news gathering organizations get those numbers from the counties. They aggregate them, they report them. The Wisconsin Elections Commission doesn't get any numbers from the locals until starting next week when the counties start to certify their numbers. So if you're asking us, is this number right? Is that number right? The numbers that you're seeing are from the news media. They are generally very accurate, but they're not official, and we don't have reports in from the counties ourselves. So that's just something to make sure that you all know. So if you want to take some questions, Megan, the first one is from Nick Bohr.
Good morning. Thank you. The president was referring to elections this morning early as a fraud and saying that they're, quote, finding votes everywhere. Anything you'd like to say about that and how the process went late into the night, early into the morning in Wisconsin?
Thank you for the question. I won't respond to that, but as I always do, I'm happy to talk about the facts of how elections work. And elections are such a deliberate, meticulous process where each of our local election officials in our local communities are conducting this process in a public setting. Every piece of data is publicly available. And so there's no opportunity to add additional votes to the tally, right? Because you have to make sure that everybody's registered to vote, that they have a lawful absentee request on file, or that they sign the poll book where they show their photo ID. There is no opportunity to count a ballot that did not go through that incredibly meticulous process to make sure it was issued correctly, to make sure that it's counted correctly. And then again, it also has to go through those 3 steps of canvass at the municipal, the county, and the state level before we have certified results. And anybody's welcome to watch that process. Some of the places even live streamed their tally last night. And so I think that it's insulting to our local election officials to say that yesterday's election was anything but an incredible success that was a result of years of preparation and meticulously, carefully following the law.
Next is Cinnamon Janzer.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Go ahead, Cinnamon. You have to unmute yourself.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, great. I just have a couple quick questions on the canvassing process. So was it 4 p.m. today that the municipalities start their certification, or is that when they're supposed to be done? And when it shifts to the counties, do the counties have a scheduled time for canvassing, or are they allowed to start whenever they receive results from the municipalities?
Yeah, thanks for the question. And, it is sort of a cascading series of events and timelines that's laid out by the statutes. So today's 4 o'clock deadline is for the municipalities to begin to route their materials to their county. The county then, once they receive the materials, each county will notice, just like the municipality did, they'll notice when their canvass is going to occur. And the same thing happens at the municipal level. They notice their municipal boards of canvass. And then once that's complete and the county receives the materials, the county then convenes their county board of canvassers and begins their certification process. So it is going to vary by jurisdiction, by county, when they convene those boards, but they'll all be publicly noticed and they'll be available for people to observe and engage with.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Next is Scott Bauer.
Hey, Meagan, thanks again for doing this call. Can you talk to me a little bit about provisional ballots? How many, do we have an idea of how many are out there? And if not, can you give some historical perspective on how many we should assume might be out there?
Yeah, thanks so much for that question. You know, and that's another, and thanks for bringing up provisional ballots too. So provisional ballots is if somebody didn't have a photo ID yesterday, they're able to cast a provisional ballot under law. And they have until Friday at 4 o'clock to bring in their valid photo ID and still have that ballot counted. Historically, we have very few provisionals that are cast in the state of Wisconsin. And I know today our local election officials are getting that information into the system, posting their number of outstanding provisionals. But if we look back historically, I believe it's been fewer than 1,000 in a general election of provisionals that were issued. We don't have those official numbers yet because they're still being entered as the clerks are finishing their canvass process. But we will have those shortly. But we're not seeing anything to indicate that we would have more provisionals than usual. I don't know, Reed, if you remember what the 2016 presidential provisionals looked like.
I wish I did, and I can't remember it right off. I'll find it and send it out along with the video link for today's session.
Good idea.
Election official there in the state of Wisconsin, Meagan Wolfe, talking about the process there in the state of Wisconsin, where Joe Biden now has about a 20,000 vote lead over Donald Trump. Not ready to project that state yet, as you heard. They are also saying that any numbers you're seeing are coming from the media. That's what we know right now. We are not ready to project a win for Joe Biden. He's got about a 20,000 vote lead.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.